On a typical night, workers move the benches so about 150 men can sleep inside the chapel at the Bowery Mission on the Lower East Side. But Hurricane Sandy was anything but typical. When the storm flooded much of Lower Manhattan, it sent a deluge of people to the shelter. The sudden influx was more than the Bowery Mission usually serves, but staff say they were ready.
You know, we weren't expecting the lights to go out, and we weren't expecting to lose our hot water and our heat, but we were prepared. We had enough water, and we were able to open the doors and not turn anybody away.
Sandy displaced many from the park benches and subway stations where they usually sleep. Twice the normal number of men took refuge at the Bowery during the storm. But in the days that followed, volunteer numbers doubled as well, and it wasn't just people flocking to the Bowery.
Normally, this hallway is clear, and we don't have any clothing outside the clothing room.
Krivich says in the weeks that followed, clothing donations poured in.
It's been a little tricky to organize, so we're normally not messy like this. A little embarrassing.
That's one of the storm's more noticeable effects. The neat racks of clothing have given way to these overflowing piles as New Yorkers look for a way to help after the disaster.
It was destructive and it was dangerous and people lost their lives, but it's also brought, you know, these amazing donations, you know, and it's touched people's hearts where they've wanted to help and give back, you know, so out of the bad storm, goodness has come.
Just sign up on here for any, just put your name
But
in the box.
uptown, far from the flooding and power outages, some shelters are seeing just the opposite, like this one, Broadway Community Inc. on the Upper West Side.
So, but we work on Monday anyway.
We've seen more of a problem in getting donations for Thanksgiving, getting volunteers for Thanksgiving. Resources are being diverted to other places.
Many New Yorkers have channeled their holiday charity into Hurricane Sandy relief, leaving soup kitchens like this one in the lurch. Normally, Broadway Community has over 100 volunteers for Thanksgiving Day. This year, only about 60 turned up. Ennis had to reach into the charity's cash reserves to make up for fewer donations of food. He says that backup measure can't last.
We've spent more of our own funds, cash funds on food, than we did in the previous 3 years before that. And the price of food has spiked so much that the same grants which ran the soup kitchen a few years ago only do a third of the job now.
Some optimists, like Matt Krivich back at the Bowery Mission, think the storm might actually improve that grim outlook. Sandy doubled New York's homeless population, forcing some 20 to 60,000 people out of their homes by many estimates. Many plan to be back on their feet soon, and when they are, Krivich thinks they'll feel more inspired to help.
Today, it can be sunny out. Tomorrow there can be a storm and you lose everything. You lose your house, you lose your job. You know, and I think that's one thing that's brought to the attention of normal folks that normally haven't had to deal with homelessness or any type of disaster.
But Charles Philly, who's been in and out of shelters for years, doubts people will remember the storm for long.
It's like this. If your belly is empty, you never forget what food tastes like, and you appreciate it. But when your belly is full, you forget when you were hungry.
Other homeless advocates, like Hakeem Rashid, echo Philly's doubts.
Well, you know the situation with them.
They say the relief effort focuses on the storm's devastation and won't change much for the existing homeless. The newly displaced, they say, are simply getting help first.
It's like I'm at the counter and I'm waiting for the barbershop to give me my haircut or the beauty salon to do my hair. And here's somebody that got their hair wet and they're going to run in and get ahead of me because they make $80,000 a year and I'm on welfare. How dare you get in front of us?
There is one positive outcome of a hurricane, Rashid says.
Let me make a quick announcement. The jobs we've been trying to get you to check out is for the disaster and restoration area.
Rashid is advising the men he helps to take advantage of the new jobs created by Sandy.
All you gotta do is go on the computer, for instance, and type in disaster rebuilding, and job things will come up on the computer.
Groups like FEMA and the Red Cross have hired temporary workers to haul away debris and help rebuild. And a month after Sandy, Governor Cuomo's office announced a $27 million grant to hire some 5,000 relief workers statewide. For New York's homeless and unemployed, that could mean a job for the next 6 months, which could help them find a more permanent home. Reporting with Emily Jones, I'm Zara Stone for the New York Current.